What's up, YouTubers? Alright, I told you I would do a video on the C5 wheels on the Monte Carlo SS, so that is what I'm going to do. It's a beautiful Sunday here in New York, but here I am in the garage because that's where I'm happy. I did spend the morning putting a patio in, and let's just say I'm a lot better with cars than I am with masonry. But anyways, back to what we got going on here. I did research online trying to find out the correct spacers to use to run these wheels on a G-body and whether it could be done. I didn't find much. A few of the forums, people said it couldn't be done, it would rub, that it would probably be this size spacer or that size spacer. So I just decided to do it. Since nobody else seemed to have an answer, here I am to give you an answer. Now, this car has Beltec 2-inch lowering spindles on the front of it. It's a 1988 Monte Carlo SS. The other G-bodies are very similar, so I would have to say that this will probably work on those as well. But I can't be 100% sure on that, since I don't have one here to try them on. But what we've got is a set of 2.5-inch wheel adapters from US Wheel. Bought them on eBay. They were like $50 or something. Put them on the car 2 weeks ago now. I ran autocross last weekend with this setup. So, under harsh conditions, I can show you what we've got. Alright, so underneath the car, you can see the tie rod is extremely close to the wheel. But, if you look at the face of the wheel, it hasn't touched. It hasn't been rubbing, there aren't any marks. But, I did have a problem with the clamp-on wheel weights. So, I had to go to stick-on wheel weights. The clamp-on wheel weight rides out here, and that actually did hit the tie rod. So I had to remove them and switch to the stick-on style. Now, no problem, doesn't rub anymore. If you look up here, you know, there's no rub on the frame or anything. Nothing touching there. Okay. Nothing on the back. Hasn't touched, and I did some hard steering. Oh, there was a plug hanging out there from the old computer shit that we don't use anymore. You know, I did some hard steering at autocross. However, if you look up there, we've got a rub mark on the plastic where it made contact. Now, in daily driving to and from work, I run over some railroad tracks and different stuff. I haven't heard anything or felt anything, so most of this is from autocross. Again, like I said, the car's lowered 2 inches with Beltec lowering spindles. So I think maybe a sway bar upgrade and a new set of shocks would lessen some of that blow, some of that rub there on the inner fender. I mean, like I said, it's only doing it on hard cornering. On this side, you can see it actually cracked the inner fender, but who knows how brittle that plastic is. And this car is pretty old. Well, 88, it's not that old, but it's old for some of us. But it rubbed there, as you can see, and it cracked it because I was cornering pretty hard at autocross. It deformed the plastic a little bit here, but down on the bottom, no rubbing, nothing. Over here in the front, hasn't touched the sway bar or nothing. Hasn't touched the tie rod. There's no marks on the inside of the wheel. So there's your clearance in the front with the car being lowered. On a stock vehicle, stock ride height, you probably wouldn't even have this issue. So if you wanted to put them on a stock vehicle, you probably wouldn't have any issue at all. Now to the back. Now these are the C5 Corvette wheels that are 17-inch in the front, 18-inch in the rear. They originally came in a silver or a chrome. Obviously, I painted them. There's a video on that. In the back, right here, you can see it's actually made contact with the frame. Just a little bit, little light touch. It rubbed the paint off, but that's the only mark. Now, if you look at it from this angle, it's really close. The car in the back has UMI lowering springs, but it hasn't actually made contact with this inner fender. There's no scrubbing on the outside of the tire or anything. It's really close, and these are stock. This has not been trimmed. Hasn't been trimmed or cut or rolled or nothing. You can see some rust there because I live in New York, but no contact with that right as of right now. And we got stock suspension on this car otherwise. I mean, other than new shocks instead of lowering springs, the sway bar is stock. Now, what I did do to this car is I put a mini spool in it. because I just couldn't get off the corner at autocross. It would just burn one tire right off of it. With that being said, you can see we have a little rub on this side too. Not a ton, just a little bit. But with that being said, there's some play in the rear end. So that could be part of my problem. I mean, it's close. It's really close. It's not touching, but it's close. Now, I can't say that the inner fender wells on all the G-bodies are exactly the same because, like I said, I don't have one in front of me. But with the Monte Carlo, I'm not having any rubbing issues up high. Nothing in there inside the wheel well at all. Just got the little tiny touch on the frame, and I really think that's because of the play I have in the mini spool, which is really too much, to be honest with you. But my plan is to get a posi unit for it instead of the mini spool, because it's only a matter of time before I break an axle trying to run a mini spool on asphalt with these wide tires. Luckily, they're old and hard, and I haven't had an issue yet. So there you go. C5 wheels on a G-body. They will work. You might have a little rubbing in the front if you're lowered like I am. If you're any lower than I am, like I said, I got 2-inch drop spindles from Beltec on the front. Stock springs, just the spindles. So if you're lower than me, you're probably going to have a problem. But at the 2-inch mark, you've seen the little bit of rub up under the fender there. And like I said, with an upgraded sway bar and a new set of shocks, it would probably alleviate some of that stress on the front end. You can see with my 2-inch, look at that sweet mark there. Yeah, 2-inch drop spindles, the exhaust is a little bit of an issue. I plan on rerouting these to true duals back, but I got to cut that cross member back there, make a spot for the exhaust to go through. You can see it's notched up on the other side if you've ever been under one of these cars, but not on this side. But we'll get to that some other day. And I got a little, this thing had a really bad oil leak when I first bought it. I haven't really cleaned it. You'd have thought I would have taken care of that back when I had the engine out, but winter, yeah, New York. So there you go. C5 wheels on a G-body, 2.5-inch wheel adapters. Those are the ones with the built-in studs, front and rear, and you can fit them on. And I think they look great, personally. Now, I'm going to swap these old graphics off. We're going to get rid of this old Splash. I got a new flat matte black graphic I'm going to put on. What most people don't see is, if you get close, you can see them. There are matte black skulls on the side of the car. You can't see that in any of the photos because of where they are on the car, but they're hiding down there on the bottom. Anyways, new graphics for this thing. If you want to see what it looks like with the new graphics, just check out my Instagram. I'll post a picture after I get them on. RaceKing46, just like YouTube. As usual, keep it creative and happy building.